We all know this has been quite the unique year out there for manufacturing. Every year I like to give a heads up for a couple things I think you should be paying attention to in the coming year. And this year we're going to be talking about the best and worst industries I think you could or should be working for, or maybe pivoting away from in 2026. But before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications below to make sure you never miss a video. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so as promised today, we're gonna be diving into the crystal ball to talk about some of the industries I think are going to be the best and most promising to work for in the coming year, and some that aren't necessarily bad industries, but are trending in a direction that means you may want to be pivoting away from, or at least diversifying away from in the coming year. I want to preface this that all this information I got just from doing some research online, seeing what financial outlooks look like, seeing what people are predicting. I am not an economist. I don't actually have a crystal ball. So take from this what you will. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of stuff in my life. So this may be one of them. But this is what everything I read is telling me. So we may as well start on the good side. So the first good industry for 2026 I think you should be looking at is the medical industry. For those of you who already work in the medical industry, I might already just be preaching to the choir here, but I do think that if you do not currently service the medical industry, medical device, research, laboratory equipment, that kind of stuff, you should be looking at it. And it's something we're going to be looking at with Lakewood Machine Tool in the coming year. The reason behind that is that Fortune Business Insights, which is one of these big companies that gets paid to do research and look at what's going to be big in the next year, they predict the medical device contract manufacturing market. So contract manufacturing, that's what all of us do, right? It was $88 billion US in 2025. They're predicting it to go to $99 billion US in 2026. So that's a big jump by itself. But on top of that, they do predict in the next 10 years, by 2036, it should be valued at $250 billion US. It's $250 billion. And that's what, 3 times what it is right now, roughly. So not only are you going to be dealing with an industry that is currently on the increase rather than the decrease, as we see with a lot of industries in manufacturing, it also means that you're not going to be dealing with contraction or as much price pressure as you may in other industries. The other reason why this industry is good to work for, from what I've read out there and from people I've talked to, is a lot of the stuff in this industry is highly, highly repeatable. So if you get in with a company doing one part or one assembly or whatever, one family of parts, as long as you are producing those parts accurately to quality standards and delivering them on time, you're probably not going to get price pressure, and you're probably going to get that job repeated. That work's going to stick in your shop. The catch here is that there are certain certifications you need for this, certain quality certs, cleanliness certs. I don't know them in particular. It's something I'm going to be researching in the coming year. So you have to be on your A game to succeed here. This is medical stuff. There's not a lot of room for error. The second industry that I think is going to be really good in 2026, and this is what I read as well, is defense. I think it goes without saying that we're seeing one of the biggest global military defense spends that we've seen in a long time. Everybody's trying to shore up their domestic defensive manufacturing supply chains. And a lot of countries out there right now, including Canada, including the US, I'm sure they have it in UK, in Europe, they have incentives right now to try to redevelop those defense supply chains. So if you are a company that is looking to get into defense, there may be grants, loans, programs that will help you do this right now, because every country wants to be able to control that themselves. On top of that, there's something called dual use technology. I know in Ontario right now, there's a big push for this. So manufacturers that do stuff that is adjacent but could have dual use with defense technology are also getting infusions of money or grants or loans. So there's a lot happening in this space. And, defense tends to trend in one direction. I'll put it that way. We do quite a bit of defense here. It's good to work in this industry, I find, because price point is typically not the deciding factor. Again, kind of like medical, they want good parts, they want reliability, and they want you to deliver parts to a quality standard on time like you said you were going to. They care about getting what they need on time to do their jobs at their end. Price kind of comes secondary to that. So it's a nice industry to be in. As well, there's a lot of aspects to defense manufacturing besides, tanks and guns. There's a lot of technology that we do that has nothing to do with that. So even if you don't think there's, a giant gun plant in your town or your area, take a look into what's out there that could be adjacent, because they're probably going to be ramping up production in the next couple of years. Highly recommend trying to get in there if you can. The catch with this one, in the States, you need your ITAR. In Canada, you need your CGP. I don't know what the European defense standard is. This is a lot of paperwork to get set up to be able to handle, sensitive classified information, blah, blah, blah. It's highly worth going through all the police checks, paperwork, all your security, blah, blah, blah. Because once you're in, as long as you stick to it and you're on top of your stuff, you should be okay. So worth the effort putting in up top. The third and final good industry, I think, and this is a bit of a cop-out, but this is what all the research I did showed, aerospace. Aerospace is still going to be riding high in 2026, according to everything I read out there. Even when the rest of the economy goes down the tubes, you don't see a lot of aerospace companies closing, unless you worked for a couple companies last year. But aerospace is projected to continue growing into the next year. Deloitte increased their outlook for aerospace contract manufacturing. They're the best source I could find on that. That's reliable, I guess. Of course, with aerospace, lots of money in there. Lots of money in there. Also, a lot of quality certifications, a lot of paperwork on your end. This is one that you cannot be slipping. Once you tool your shop to an aerospace shop, buckle up, because you're going to be doing a lot more than you think you are. But once you're doing that, shops that do aerospace make some of the best money out there. So if you're not in it and you're interested in that aspect of things, I would highly recommend looking into it for 2026. Now on the other side, these are the industries that are projected to go down next year, or at least you should be diversifying away from, because there's a lot of inherent risk in them. Again, these are not really my opinions necessarily, although I've seen them. This is kind of what I saw out there. The first one that you're probably going to want to start to pivot away from, if you have not already, is automotive. And for all my friends out there that have been working in automotive for the last year, guys, I'm sorry. I've seen how hard it's been out there. I know a couple guys who do shops, for tier one automotive. It's been rough. It's been very, very difficult for them. I've seen a bunch of shops get wiped out in our local area, and most of them were predominantly, if not 100%, automotive. It's been an industry that's been a difficult one to compete in for years. With everything going on out there, it's really gotten hit. Some guys do it really well. They do it really well. We're talking tier one automotive. We're talking, car manufacturers, not aftermarket car stuff. This is an industry where you're going to get some of the heaviest downward pressure on pricing all the time. So if you run a part year one, you're going to have to requote and come in cheaper most of the time year two in order to keep that job. Material prices be damned. It's so difficult to work with. You also have the issues of a lot of these contracts have things written into them where it says, if you do not deliver X parts by X date, you start getting penalized. Not a lot of other industries have that in there. I just don't know if this is the time to get into automotive if you have not already. If you were in it, and I've seen a lot of shops starting to pivot, retool certain aspects of their production to expand the industries they serve instead of just automotive. I've seen that happen, and it's working really well. Something to watch out for in the coming year. Outside of that, niche automotive, so performance automotive, race cars, cool stuff for trucks. If you have a niche in the cool automotive end of things, that's still probably going to do pretty well. Most of the shops I know that we do work for are still rocking and rolling in that aspect. The next one that they said you should stay away from out there in the coming year is the agricultural industry production side of things. So these are, your tractor parts. These are your agricultural equipment, bins, hoppers, all that kind of stuff. I say tractor parts because I don't know a whole lot about this industry, and I know there's a lot more than that goes into it. It's a very technical industry. Things are going down in this industry right now. They are experiencing kind of a industry depression in that. Capital expenditures are expected to go down. Like any industry, if that industry is contracting, the big spends on new equipment, new whatever, tend to get rolled into the next year. They get delayed. We're seeing that. Even John Deere actually cut their outlook for 2026, and they're one of the biggest ones out there. We do a little bit of agricultural stuff, literally for tractor parts. This last year, we saw it drop massively. We still got some orders, but personally, I'm glad that it wasn't a huge component of our business because we would have felt that impact as well. Again, not saying you shouldn't do work for this industry, just if it is 80% of your bread basket of work, maybe look at trying to put it to 50. We should be looking at some other options right now. And the final one, this was actually a bit of a shock, and I did not like reading this out there, but I saw it repeated a few times. The third industry that they said is going to experience some contraction and strife in 2026 is the general contract manufacturing industry. And what does that mean? Job shop machining. Of course, what are we? Job shop machining. Now, it's difficult to look at this one too hard because you know as I know, job shops, you could have 10 job shops on the street. They could all be completely different than each other. It's such a general thing. From what I gleaned, what they're talking about here is if your shop does work that any shop can do, expect pricing in 2026 to have a lot more pressure on it. A lot more racing to the bottom on stuff. Companies that can get work done anywhere, they're saying, are expected to shop work a lot more. This came from the Wall Street Journal. They said across, the numerous industries in North America, if you do not have the work that no one else can do, expect that you're going to have a little bit of problem. I don't know what to do with this information, as I'm sure you don't, because a lot of us aren't job shops. A lot of us are job shops. Contract manufacturing is such a broad term so which industries are going to get hit in there? Who knows? But it's something to keep on top of. If you do not have a niche where you can excel, maybe start trying to find one. If you do not have your own product line, maybe now is the time to start launching something that you can control a little bit more. So you're not the whim of your customers' salespeople. You can be your own salesperson and drive some of your own demand. We're going to be looking at that in the coming year as well. That said, there is so much going on in the world. It's so hard to tell what the next year will bring. I'd love to know in the comments below, what are you seeing in your area? What do you predict? Is there something people should be looking at or staying away from? Let us know in the comments below, because this is how we help each other. And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications below to make sure you never miss a video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. You take care.